Hi everyone, welcome to Moonbeam's Messages. This is a collective reading today that is for Sun, Moon and Risings. If it doesn't resonate with yourself, then please take what resonates with you and leave the rest for someone else. I hope you like your messages today. If you do, please like and subscribe to the channel and you'll get updates every time that I put new content on the channel. Okay, let's get into the reading. Okay, so this is a reading for Sagittarius, and it is with regards to self-reflection. Now, we all go through periods in our lives where we need a little bit of a nudge for things that we need to work on within ourselves in order to, be more prosperous, more abundant, have things starting to flow in the right direction again. We're all on a learning journey, so there's nothing wrong with a little bit of self-reflection every now and then. Okay, so this won't resonate with everybody. Like I say, it is a collective reading. For those it does resonate with, don't force it to resonate. Take what does resonate and leave what doesn't. For those that it doesn't resonate with, check your other placements. You might find messages in there that would be more helpful. Now, this could be related to a past situation, a current situation, or the situation that you're going into. We are on the 13th of May. So whenever it falls into your feed is whenever it is or likely to be relevant for yourself. Okay. Spirit, can we get some cards on self-reflection for Sagittarius, please? For any self-reflection journey that Sagittarius is currently facing. See if you're in the right place. Sorry, I keep putting them in the wrong places on the table and then I end up with no room. Okay, so the overall card that we've got for the deck is the Strength card. Okay, and that is in reverse. So that is suggesting that at the moment, you could be feeling a little bit powerless, potentially a little bit physically weak, maybe a bit cowardly. You might be lacking a bit of resolve as well. You might even be going through some actual illness that's making you feel a little bit weak and frail potentially. Right, okay, so this card in 5 of Wands is what your inner voice is currently telling you and what it's doing to you and how it's making you feel. Okay, so what the 5 of Wands is a card of conflict. So it is potentially suggesting that you're fighting a lot with yourself. You're potentially having a lot of heated arguments inside your own head. Now, that could suggest that you're constantly feeling agitated. You could be in how do you put it? You could be a bit anxious because you're constantly fighting with yourself. You're constantly on edge. You're feeling like you're always in some sort of challenge, whether it's with yourself, whether it's with other people. Because you're constantly arguing with yourself, it's obviously very mentally draining. So I would imagine there's a lot of you that are probably quite tired. So make sure you're getting lots of rest. Okay. Now, in the card, so what are you hiding from yourself out of shame or fear? We've got the Queen of Wands and she's in reverse. Okay, now the Queen of Wands she's usually somebody that's a little bit jealous, vain, or vindictive. Can be a bit self-indulgent as well. The Queen of Wands is somebody that is usually very beautiful. She's passionate, she's loving, she gets what she wants, she's very, very confident. When she's in the reverse, she is just as confident, but she's mean with it. Okay, so you're either scared that that's you could be ashamed that that's you, or you're scared of somebody else, or you're ashamed of somebody else that has got those qualities. Okay, it's very likely that you're probably ashamed that they're your qualities potentially, especially if you're constantly in conflict with yourself. Or maybe it's that you want to be more like that. Maybe you want to feel a bit more vain. Yeah. But whatever it is, whatever that is, you're in conflict over it. Okay. So maybe, as silly as it sounds, maybe it's just that you've not accepted yourself enough yet. I mean, she can also be somebody that's quite jealous. So maybe you've got a fear of losing out to something or to someone. Maybe you're ashamed of that green-eyed monster that might pop up on you every now and then. And you know that it's wrong, but you're arguing with yourself because you know it's wrong, but you can't help doing it anyway because it's part of you. Now, what we can do to heal the situation and get some help, we've got the Ten of Wands. Now, the Ten of Wands is suggesting that you're carrying a very heavy burden, okay? The Ten of Wands in a traditional tarot is usually a man holding 10 massive wands on his back, walking towards a house. So what it would suggest, I'm not suggesting that you carry out all of those wands, because he's also suggesting that, you can get burnout quite easily. So where I was saying here about resting, there's nothing stopping you putting down those wands, having a rest, taking a few with you at a time. You don't have to take everything all at once and deal with everything all at once. Just take it a little bit at a time or ask for help. And that would be what that Ten of Wands is suggesting that you can do to help yourself through getting through this fear or shame. If it's something where you are somebody that's jealous, or if you're a little bit vain, ask yourself why. Just one little bit at a time. Have a look at what it is that, when you're arguing with yourself over something that you know that you're conflicted about, ask yourself, why is that particular thing making you angry or conflicted? Why do you think it's bad? Why do you think it's good? What is it? And try and balance it out and just look at one thing at a time, and get yourself plenty of rest in between working out one thing at a time. If it's something where you struggle doing that yourself, potentially go and ask for help, maybe go and seek a professional, or, ask friends, family, somebody that can sit and listen, because sometimes somebody from the outside might be able to give you some insight that you can't give to yourself. But yeah, it would suggest that you put down the burden for a little bit, and work on it slightly, because if you don't, you're going to burn out. You're going to be completely overloaded, and you're going to end things purely because of anxiety. And it could, let's face it, if it's mental anguish as well, you don't want to end up putting yourself in a psychiatric institution. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but worst case scenarios and everything, you don't want to end up giving yourself complete mental exhaustion. So if it's something where you're constantly arguing with yourself about a personality trait of yours, sit and examine that personality trait. If it's something that you don't love, what can you do to change it? What can you do to give yourself some self-appreciation on it? Is there anything that you could like about that? If it's something where you're ashamed, or you fear somebody else or somebody doing something to you, that is, generally vain and snobby and up themselves slightly, if it's a person that you're more fearful of, so whether it's, it could be that you just fear being self-indulgent. Who doesn't want like being self-indulgent every now and then? As daft as it sounds, maybe you're somebody with an eating disorder. You're arguing with yourself constantly because you know that you shouldn't. When I say an eating disorder, I don't just mean I mean, you've got anorexia and bulimia are your general ones, but I mean, you can overindulge and then you'll tell yourself off, you know. And this is saying put down your burdens a little bit. You don't need to be telling yourself off, but you can also have an eating disorder where you overeat. You know, you can have binge eating, and it might be something where you're then telling yourself off, but you need to work out what your triggers are, what makes you eat or not eat. You know, there's a lot of things that it could be. Okay, now we're going to go with, so this one, what do I need to let go of? Okay, so the Three of Cups. Now that is celebrations and it is also indulgence. So that would suggest to me that the Queen of Wands is potentially highlighting a shame or fear of overindulgence then. So if you're somebody that likes to go and party a lot and you like to celebrate and go out with lots of people, this is suggesting that maybe you need to let go of all of that, or maybe it's the guilt that you need to let go of doing that. Okay. And then what we've got for what do you need to embrace is you need to embrace the Magician. Now, the Magician is the manifester of everything. So that would suggest that, you know, you can do whatever you want. You can make magic happen. So where you might be scared of, I don't know, it's a hard one because this could be anything. You know, if it is something where you're overindulgent, for instance, this could be telling you if you want to lose weight, you can do it. If you want to get out of harder eating disorders, I say harder, I'm a big lady, I'm not going to lie. It does take a lot of self-will to lose some weight. But I do appreciate that, you know, things like bulimia, anorexia are extremely hard, but people do recover from them. So this is suggesting, you know, you can do it if you put your mind to it and you get the right tools. You can do anything you want to. If it's something where you're a drinker, you know, you can learn, or you can stop drinking if it's a drinking overindulgence. If it's an indulgence, if it is being jealous or vain, you know, then this is suggesting that, you know, I mean, that's suggesting you might go out partying a lot. So you might be very vain, getting dressed up and, you know, going out partying, doing whatever you need to. This is suggesting it doesn't matter. Go and do it. Stop feeling ashamed about it. Stop fearing that it's bad, you know, because you can do what you want. And we're going to pull some clarifications on these as well. So, Spirit, can we get some clarification on this Five of Wands, please? Spirit, please give us clarification on this Five of Wands. Okay, so we've got the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, so not only are you conflicted on the inside, but your inner voice is also saying that things are going to fall apart. Okay, it is the Ten of Pentacles is suggesting things coming to an end. That there's disagreements, potentially money problems, issues in the home. So you could be telling yourself off because whatever it is that you're ashamed or fearful of could be causing issues in your home, as well as in your finances. Okay, so maybe it is, like I say, an overindulgence issue, and you know that you need to potentially stop it, but it might be that the overindulgence is an addiction and you're finding it really hard to break out of that habit. Spirit, can we get clarification on this Queen of Wands, please? I'm half expecting the devil to pop up on this one, I'm not going to lie. Spirit, please clarify this Ten of Wands. Not the Ten of Wands, the Queen of Wands, sorry. Clarify the Queen of Wands. And we've got the Nine of Cups in reverse. Okay, so the Nine of Cups, when it is in reverse, is suggesting that some wish fulfillment may be a little bit delayed. It could be suggesting that you're either in denial or you've denied some sort of request. So maybe you're feeling a bit regretful because something's come along and you've rejected some help, or you may have rejected an offer of something, because again, you might be feeling like maybe that person was you know, a bit vain and you've rejected them, or maybe you've rejected them because they're not the type of person you'd want, it's not the type of job you want, it's not the type of help that you want, for instance. So it's just delaying the whole thing. So it's suggesting as well that not only are you, you know, fearful of or ashamed of being vain, indulgent, etc., that you could potentially be ashamed of not getting the help. You know, that you're aware that you could have addressed this previously, but you've not addressed it. Yeah, I mean, with it being cups, it could potentially be that, I mean, if this is a home or a family issue, it could be that somebody from home has been, you know, been trying to help you and you've kind of declined it, tried to put it off, shrug it off a bit, and then you're now arguing with yourself and you're feeling a bit ashamed over it all because you know that something needed to change. Spirit, can we get clarification on the Ten of Wands, please? So we've got the Wheel in reverse. So this is past lessons that haven't been learnt yet. Okay, so the burdens that you are carrying, it is suggesting that you do need to go back, or not go back into the past, obviously, but you need to look at previous situations that could be very similar in your past, and evaluate them and learn from them, because you've repeated. It suggests that you've repeated this particular trait or what it is that you're going through before. It may not have been in the same realm. So if it's something where you're going through it in work, it might have happened to you in love. If it's something where it's happening to you in love, it could have happened in work. You know, it could have happened at school, college, any number of times or places, but it just suggests that it is something that you're repeating. It is a cycle that you're repeating that you haven't yet learned from, and that is why it's feeling like such a heavy burden, because you haven't learned the lessons from it. Okay, Spirit, can we get clarification of this Three of Cups, please? What else? Well, let's get some clarification on this Three of Cups. What needs releasing? Okay, so we've got the Chariot in reverse. So that is picking a wrong choice, or making a wrong choice, going the wrong direction, and moving slowly. So it's suggesting potentially that you need to stop moving. You need to stand still for 5 minutes and evaluate what you need to do. instead of blindly going in a direction and thinking, yeah, that's the best, it is suggesting that you need to really stop and evaluate what is best for you, and then make your move. The Chariot, when it's in the upright, is fast moving in a direction that the Chariot is going to go. Now, the person pulling the Chariot doesn't have any reins. It is all done mentally. When it's in reverse, it suggests that he doesn't know where he's going. So what you need to let go of is potentially not knowing where you're going. You need to be making a bit of a plan, potentially, releasing whatever the overindulgence is, the merriment, the partying, make a plan to move forward, but move forward possibly in a healthier way. I say healthy. I don't know what the Three of Cups is representing. You will know that more than I do. I mean, the Three of Cups as well, if it is a love situation, it could also be a third party. So if it is something where you're really vain, maybe you can, arguing with yourself, because as horrible as it sounds, you could be somebody that's a serial cheat. Maybe you're somebody that likes to go out and party with a lot of different people. Maybe it's causing conflicts in your home. I say serial cheat, you don't have to necessarily be a serial cheat, but maybe you're somebody that likes to keep your options open, could be your parents that are getting onto you at home, could be causing financial difficulties because you're constantly out spending your money trying to party and everything else. That kind of life is a little bit too overindulgent. You potentially have rejected an offer of settling down in the past. It's now becoming a bit of a burden, but you need to sit and learn your lessons on why are you acting that way, and then what you've got then to get rid of, or what you need to release, is the partying, is the overindulgence, is the merrymaking, as we'll put it, and actually, plan your future, plan your steps forward. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Is it something where you want to stay, if you want to be a bachelor or a bachelorette for the rest of your life and party and carry on, then you make your plans to do that. If you don't, then it's suggesting that you release that way of life as such, and you start making a plan, choose a direction, not necessarily staying stuck and stagnant. Okay, I mean, the Magician is saying you can do whatever you want, so you are in a place where you can pick whatever you want to do. If it's something where this is work related, you can have whatever job you want, if it's obviously within reason. I'm not going to say you can go and be a prime minister or a president or whatever. You can work for it and you can try and get it, by all means. You can go for any job you want. You might be very successful at it. But it is suggesting that you have the manifestation gifts to embrace and get what you need, get what you want out of things. So if it is a relationship, potentially, you've got everything in you to get that. If it's something where it's a job, you've got everything in you to make sure that your finances are a success, whether it's in that job or out of that job. If it is that you want to go on a diet, you've got all the materials you need to do that. You just need to pick a direction and go with it. It could be something where you're very indecisive on, whether to go with a dietitian, whether to pick a diet app, whether to go with a group support system. But it's saying whatever way you want to go, pick a direction and travel with it. Now, the Magician, again, is clarifying by that 10 of Wands. Okay, so again, what you need to embrace is potentially embrace the burden. Embrace those lessons, embrace what is causing you to feel let down, not let down, weighed down, and learn the lessons from it. So it's all going back to, those cycles that you haven't completed in the past, those lessons you haven't potentially learned. So it does suggest that you have got a bit of inner reflection to do with regards to that. I'm going to get some advice as well, because it's all right saying do some inner reflection on some lessons you've got to learn, but I mean, all this is suggesting is it's overindulgence. So can we get a little bit of advice, please, for Sagittarius? I don't like it when the spread doesn't really give you much advice on its own. Let's get some advice for Sagittarius. What can they do to help aid with their overindulgence? What can Sagittarius do to aid with their overindulgence, other than make a plan, obviously? Okay, so we've got the Three of Cups. That doesn't help, does it, when it's trying to suggest, you know, that you need to release celebrating. Okay, the High Priestess and the Star. So this is suggesting, yeah, when you're going out and you're celebrating, you're overindulging, etc., or you're faced with your overindulgence, you need to be using your intuition, and you need to be learning or using what you already know about it. Okay, if it's something where you're a partier, where's it going to lead? Because you already know. If it's something where you're looking at food, you're looking at a big dirty pizza, what's it going to do to you? You already know. You know, if it's a job and you're somebody that's over a, how do we put it? I like the big cheese in the job. You're, I'd say overindulgent, but it's more of, you know, you earn a lot of money. As an opportunity comes up, you want to jump straight in for it because you know that you're going to be, you know, you're a bit vain, potentially think that you're great at it. You know, if you've not evaluated the job, or you know what the type of job is, and you've got a lot of overconfidence, is it going to work? Isn't it going to work? Can you pull it off? Have you got the credentials for it? You know, it's that kind of thing. It's suggesting that you sit and you have a proper think about it and make a decision, you know, based on what you know as to whether or not it's going to work. I mean, at the end of the day, that is what that wheel is about as well. It's embracing those past things. So experiences where it's been very similar before, and thinking to yourself, okay, is it right? Isn't it right? How's it worked out in the past? You know, and it's learning from that. And then we do have a Star card in the reverse, which does suggest that, you know, you may also have some issues around receiving help or guidance, and that you may feel a little bit lost or abandoned. So maybe that's something that you need to possibly work on. Maybe that's why you go out partying a lot, or if it's a relationship type thing where you're not somebody that hasn't settled down yet, but you might be wanting to settle down, and that's why you're arguing with yourself. It could be that you are, you know, you've got a fear of abandonment potentially that you need to sit and think about, or you need to do some reflection on. But it's literally telling you to, you know, think what's happened in the past with regards to a similar situation where you've potentially overindulged or partied out, or, you know, third party situation. Have a think about it. Is it worth it? How did it end last time? It's probably going to end the same because it's just a cycle that you're repeating. You know, if you don't want it to end the same, what can you do to make it end differently? You know, and it's about learning not to do the same thing over and over again. And if you need to get help, get help. You know, don't feel that you are not deserving of help. You know, if it's something where you need to receive help, then go and get it if you need it. You know, don't feel hopeless. But yeah, if you have a fear of abandonment, I know there's a lot of things you can read online about people with certain personality types, and a lot of the time they can't maintain a stable relationship because they fear abandoning, so they're the person that abandons first, things like that. So, you know, you could have a fear of abandonment from childhood. It could be, you know, past relationship that went south. Could be any number of things that could make you feel abandoned. But it does suggest that might be something that you might need to look into. Okay, so I'm also going to pull a Moonology Oracle card, or a couple of them, and see if there's anything there. Oh, any messages that Spirit wants to give from those. Spirit, can we get some Moonology cards, please? For Sagittarius. No, that is the worst shuffle ever. Look, all over the desk. Okay, so it does say you are good enough. And we also have communication is key. Okay, and on the bottom of the deck, a new romantic cycle begins. Now that is in reverse. Okay, so that suggests that potentially if this is something old, maybe you're in a relationship or somebody wants a relationship with you, or you're in something with a relationship, and maybe you are potentially somebody that may have sabotaged in the past, because you've got a fear of abandonment, and you are one of those people that think, I need to, maybe you're scared of intimacy because you're fearing that abandonment. So you might be a self-sabotager potentially. So you might have a bit of inner work to do with regards to that, to not necessarily overindulge in self-sabotage. It's probably a nice way of putting it. Right, so I'm also going to pull a Kitchen Witch Oracle card for you. Now, these are herbs that may help with your self-sabotaging, or yeah, and anything that may help with your particular reflection, with regards to overindulgence, self-sabotage, whatever it is that may be causing issues or that you need to reflect on. Spirit, can we get a Kitchen Witch Oracle card for Sagittarius to help them with their current self-reflection journey? Okay, so we've got Milk Thistle, Intrusion. I'll read the book on that because I've not learned all of these just yet. Okay, so it says your thorny attitude is causing others to bristle as you deal with a prickly issue that's opened up an invitation to irritation, which is leaving you feeling rather uncomfortable. So that could be to do with your inner conflict, where you might be feeling a little bit aggressive towards something that's going on, especially if it's with regards to a relationship. It says, use me to draw out toxins from the body as I decrease inflammation and soothe the negative effects of disturbance and aggravation to your liver, the seat of anger. What happens when you drink too much? Usually this to your liver. Overindulgence. You can also get liver issues if you overindulge in food as well. My spikes will protect you from the violation of others, breaking hexes and exorcism. Sow my dried seeds into a poppet. Use in spells to break bad habits, drive away depression, as I lend you my strength to defend yourself against harm. I shall guard you well if grown in your garden, and protect you from evil if you find me at the front door. Beware of those who wish you ill will, and direct any lower emotions such as jealousy your way, for they shall be deterred by a short, sharp shock. So that could suggest then that you may be fearing the jealous people potentially as well, because we did have that Queen of Wands in the reverse. So it might not just be your jealousy, but you might be fearing other people's jealousy. Maybe other people are jealous of your party in nature, or you're over in, yeah. But either way, it does suggest that the overindulgence needs to be released, and that you need to embrace your inner magician, as we should say. Okay. So I hope that has helped some of you Sagittarius is out there. Good luck with your inner or self-reflection journey. And thank you for joining me.